Hello there, my name is Ishtari, and since the last episode of Avarrocka, I've been working on raising my overall skill level. I'm going to continue with that for a little while. I need to start pressing in a few different directions this week. Ritual of the Mahjarrat has a bunch of intersecting quest lines, but the end goal for this account is the quest cape, and some of the unlocks are just too good to turn down. The biggest aim is to try and get into lunar gear this episode, so I'll be having a huge skilling session later. One skill that I've pretty much ignored is rune crafting, so to wrap up the current one, that's what I'll be working on. I mined up a lot of pure essence just for this purpose. Before I start doing runs though, I'm going to unlock the Abyss. It's not strictly necessary, but if I'm going to do rune crafting, I typically prefer to just do rune runs through the Abyss. I will have no choice but to take my happy ass into the rune span later. I don't really feel like it right now because I need runes and money is hard for me. At least for now. I am in the most dire need of air runes. I always need them because they're required in every single elemental combat spell from the standard spellbook. Pretty early into this, I got both of the rune crafting rocks for the statue of Mahjarrat, and I decided to go ahead and start turning them in. I've gotten a fair chunk of them since I've started this account. Went back to airs, and then I just finished off the last bit of essence with the other elements. It took a long time, but that's done now, which means it's time to start questing. So, Fight Arena was originally going to be the first of the Mahjarrat quests that I did, but when I looked at the rewards, I realized that it wouldn't be possible before Dragon Slayer. It gives attack experience, which wasn't really doable before Dragon Slayer, due to my own artificial constraints. Honestly, I'm not sure that that would have made much of a difference necessarily, but those are completely gone now, so I may as well get it done. There is fighting in this one, as to be expected. What wasn't expected was how well the first episode of this series did. Hello to the new subscribers, I hope you all enjoy this one as well. I went into this thinking that this was going to be my toughest fight yet, so I was hoping that I hadn't made a poor choice, and I didn't, surprisingly. I managed to get through every single fight without losing or even needing to eat food. There are skeletons on the ground that allow you to safe spot even the giant form of Khazard, so another Mahjarrat quest down. Next is Merlin's Crystal. I'm mostly doing this for the absurd amount of quest points that it gives, and Excalibur. But I haven't done these quests since they updated the area with lines that are more accurate to the game world. They removed all the references to our real world Earth, and I hope that we get to explore Terragard one day. But basically, Merlin is trapped in a crystal, and the best way to figure out how to free him is to go talk to the person who put him in it in the first place. That being Morgan Le Fay. She's southeast of there in a supposedly impregnable fortress. To get in, we need to stow away as a box of candles. I get dropped off in the back, and honestly, I'm really close to where we took off from. Go up the stairs, try to kill Mordred, and Le Fay steps in asking me to spare him. I will if she tells us how to free Merlin. She agrees, and we're off to get several items. Chief among them is Excalibur. I can't even equip it yet, but luckily, I don't need to. Fight the spirit, smash the crystal, talk to Arthur. Quest complete. After a quick level up, I can do Holy Grail. This is a good boost, and I hear it's pretty quick, so I may as well just do it. I'm gonna say this a lot, but it's been a long time since I've done this quest. As I recall, the heads are actually turned the wrong way for a later quest, which is a neat way to revisit things. It was quickly done, and to a huge pop-off. Waterfall quest. Another good booster. Just because magic is my main combat style doesn't mean I need to stick to it now. I got 27 attack levels earlier from Fight Arena, so I'm excited to get more levels under my belt. A bit of running around and level 30 strength off of this. Nice. Next up is an important quest for Slayer, Smoking Kills. The final fight of this was much harder than I was expecting. My hardest fight yet, without a doubt. I died on my first attempt. I forgot to record it, but here I am right afterwards in Death's office. Let's try that again. I'm bringing more food, and I'll try to pray earlier. I also forgot Excalibur. How did I fare in this attempt? Well, bluntly, I kinda got my ass kicked, but I killed the boss this time. Quest complete. I also did Druidic Ritual for the quest points, and then Wolf Whistle for the charms. 2 more, and then it's time for a skilling session. Beneath Cursed Tides and the Dig Site. It'll be nice to have the Oyster, and the Dig Site is needed to do Ritual of the Mahjarrat eventually. But I'm gonna start with Beneath Cursed Tides. It was a fun quest when it came out. Honestly, it's still pretty fun. I had totally forgotten the whole story of it. Essentially, a dark wizard sinks the island because he was annoyed about ending up there. Teleportation gone wrong. Happens to the best of us. All the tutors, or at least most, have become Crassians. Interesting boss fight at the end? Let's go ahead and do the Oyster while I'm at it. The Dig Site. Already said it, but it's another mandatory quest for the Ritual of the Mahjarrat, and there's still so many more. I've always kind of enjoyed this quest. This I've done recently, on League. I actually thought about trying to go for Ritual on that, but there just wasn't enough time for me to get to that level of commitment. I somehow managed to get the special cup for the level 1 exam on my first pan, which was amazing. The leveling up in this goes much quicker than in the skill, which is to be expected, but it starts to feel more like the actual skill when I have to dig up an ancient talisman and then turn it into Terry Bolando. He tells me that this represents the ancient god known as Zaros, and he gives me permission to descend below the surface to blow up some stones in my way and loot a stone tablet. He didn't necessarily give me permission for the last part of that, but turned it in, quest complete. Yeah, that's still a good quest. I lied a little bit because I would actually like to do one more quest before getting to skilling. I want to go ahead and unlock Necromancy. It'll be a little bit before I seriously work on it, but I just want to go ahead and unlock it at least. Now I can skill. And just in case you haven't figured it out yet, there's going to be a lot of it. Lunar Diplomacy is the aim, and that means I need 25 more crafting levels, 7 fire making levels, 15 magic levels, 8 mining levels, and 4 woodcutting levels. Luckily for me, the Freminnik Trials will have its requirements met in the pursuit of getting Lunar Diplomacy done. On the opposite end of the luck spectrum, I need to melee in that quest, which means I will definitely need to be doing other combat styles while working on my magic, which is fine. Honestly, I need to start collecting bones, and this is a good way to get it done, if I can get dragon tasks. I also need to start thinking about obtaining more food, and that's actually what I'm going to start with. Catherby for a bit, and then off to Menopause. While I was there, I decided to take a break from fishing and grind out fire making for Lunar Diplomacy. Back to fishing for a bit, and then making urns. About now is when I started to wonder if I could even manage Lunar Diplomacy by the end of this episode. I still have so many levels to get. So I sped it up some by heading out to the desert to mine gem rocks and chiseled them. Urns are very useful, which is why I've been doing them until now. They're just very slow. I managed to knock out 1,000 total levels during this part of the skilling grind, which is pretty awesome. I didn't think I'd be here within a month or so after starting. I also knocked out the mining requirement. Again, still so much to go. Ugh. I also managed to knock out our first tier 10 task, which is interesting. But let's fast forward a bit to the next skill. This is boring. I got there in the end. I can't make an Acacia box at this point, which is why I'm cutting maples. I just cannot get fletching to catch up, but that's okay. Getting 55 wasn't terrible. Now it's time for some combat, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better about my ability to complete my goal for this episode at this point. Luckily, Slayer is a skill that exists as well, and I've mostly been training it in conjunction with my combat skills, as you should, so I'll keep that going. As I mentioned earlier, I'm skipping Necromancy. I was planning on getting everything else up to around level 50, but I did not get another melee task before I got my magic to where it needed to be. So, I missed out on some strength levels. All of this to say that at combat level 75, and with skills that look like this, it was time for a Freminnikian doubleheader. I'm well aware that these quests take up about half of the video, but they are long quests, and they're some of my favorites, actually. Just so you know, I am normally the type of gamer who just figures out things with in-game information. Outside of maybe really difficult bosses like Zuck, I tend to not look up guides myself, which is why I haven't really made any for this channel. It's more fun that way, even if I happen to die a lot along the way. A good example where I've been forced to look up a guide would be the level Treetops from the first Spyro game. If you know, you know. But for this in Lunar Diplomacy, I'm just going to use the wiki. So down the council list I go, starting with Monty the Reveler. I had actually grabbed a beer for this quest before starting, but maybe I shouldn't have, because I have to go back to Seer's village anyway to get a keg of alcohol-free beer from the poison salesman to get this done, which is slightly annoying. I'm actually very glad we have lodestones nowadays, because I vaguely remember a time when I had to walk all the way back. I'm not saved from walking, however, as I had to walk back to Relica to drop that beer off to a council workman, and he gives me what appears to be a bomb that I'll need in just a little bit. Grab a keg of the good stuff, and then light the bomb and put it in a pipe outside. Maybe it's a firework, but once I've done that, I can dump the alcohol and replace it with the fake stuff, which allows me to trick Monty into thinking that I am the best drinker alive. Next is Olaf the Bard, who wants to see my musical prowess. Again, I'm gonna cheat by making an enchanted lyre that makes me be a better lyre player than I actually am. Grab a swaying branch from this tree, and then I try to get some golden fleece from Lolly the Troll, but he thinks I want his apples. So I've got to talk to this head of a kid to get a pet rock. Using the vegetables I grabbed before starting this quest, I make stone soup for Lolly. Now to get it enchanted by the Fosgrimmen. Luckily, Lucian got us raw sharks because I am not quite there on fishing them up, and I do not feel like having to gather them myself from a monster that drops them. With that done, I can now play in the long haul. Much to Olaf's pleasure, and that gives me 2 of the council members down. Now, I forgot that I need food for this quest, so I was off to Fort Ferenthri to grab that and then hunted a dragon for Sigly. I actually remember really not liking this part of the quest because I can't follow the talisman's directions worth of shit, apparently. It was actually easy this time, but I forgot to start recording before the fight started, and I took it down so quickly that I only got like right as the dragon died. Unfortunate on my part, but I quickly returned the talisman to Sigli and started the next trial. Didn't even need food for this part. A puzzle by Pier the Seer is next. God, I hope I'm saying that name right. You have to figure out how to make it through his house. He deposits all the food I just picked up and my armor, meaning I'll need to go get it again for the Koshai fight at the end. At least the food. I'm not going to give a play-by-play on this, but I end up with the key to get out of there. Honestly, one of my favorite parts of this quest, as it always sticks with me. Now it's time to talk to Sigmund the Merchant. This is like a Relican version of One Small Favor, to be honest, which all of us are avoiding in the group right now. The gist is that he wants a flower. To get that flower, the person wants a ballad composed for them. To get that ballad, Olaf wants a pair of sturdy boots. To get those, the tailor wants taxes on stores lowered. To do that, Brunt wants a map of the best hunting spots. Sigli will give it up for a custom bowstring. To get the bowstring, Skalgrimmen wants an unusual fish that a fisherman caught. Even though it's not edible, he won't part with it unless he's given a map with the best fishing spots. Swenson wants a weather forecast. Pier? Maybe it's Pier. Wants a bodyguard. Thorvald wants a champion's token, allowing him a seat in the long haul. Mani will let him have it if he can get a legendary cocktail from Thora. Thora agrees if we can get a promissory note from Askaladin saying he'll stay out of the bar. Askaladin, and this is why I call him a shithead mostly, will do so if you give him 5,000 coins. Agree, and now I just have to run it back. So back to Thora, and then Mani, and then... that is... Let's see here. 5 trials down, 2 more to go. I'm going to go ahead and bank again, because I will definitely need the food soon. For the next one, all I need to do is make it through a maze. The maze is easy, and the directions just spell Swenson. May as well turn on Legacy mode, because it's time to fight Koshai. And with a 1, 2, 3, and 4, I was out of there. This fight went much easier than I expected. The last time I did this fight in League, I disconnected during the 4th fight and didn't get the Fremi blade. I'm glad that I got my vengeance. Quest complete. Now it's time for the mighty Ballak to head off to the Lunar Isle. To do that, I need to talk to Lokar in the westernmost port, grab a seal of passage from Brunt, and then talk to Lokar again. He takes me to his captain's ship, which is harbored just south of the Lunar Isle. Captain agrees to take me there because he likes it there, but then shenanigans start happening. We went in a big ol' circle, right back to the Pirate Cove. Try again, same effect. It's a jinx! Eventually, I get the cabin boy to confess that he drew the symbols for the jinx on the ship at the behest of a woman from the Lunar Isle because he wanted to be the captain. Erased them all, and we're off to the Lunar Isle. For real this time. First thing that I noticed upon entering the city is that it's had a graphical update since the last time I did the quest, which wasn't that long ago. I like it. It looks very nice. Now I've got to talk to a woman named Meteora, who tells me that they have no real leader, but the One Romancer can help me with my quest, which is to get these 2 Freminnikian clans to get along after fighting with each other for like 1,000 years. Astral Altar looks dope. She tells me about their history and then says if I really want to help, then I should take part in their ritual to help me understand their ways. I need a waking sleep potion, a lunar staff, and the ceremonial robes. That last one is why I'm here, because it'll help out with my magic a lot for at least a little bit. Off to Baba Yaga's house now. One thing I've always kind of appreciated about RuneScape is its various references to the real world, whether it be Monty Python or something like this. A YouTube video I watched a while back says that references are bad writing, but I don't know about that necessarily. Everyone gets their ideas from somewhere, and it's all about how you do it. And as long as it's not every other sentence, I don't really see the problem. Anyways, she tells me the ingredients that I need for the potion. I've got 2 of them, Guam and Marintil. Now I just need to acquire a tooth from one of the suckas outside of the city and combine it all with water in a special vial that I was given. I also decided to pick up the 4 hides that I'm going to need for later. Turn that into the One Romancer, and now I'm off to get the lunar staff. I need to visit the 4 elemental altars, which is easy enough. The annoying part about this is that you have to do it in a set order, which is air, fire, water, and then earth. Turn that in, and now it's time to make the robes. The helm is crafted from some ore you can get down in the mine. The cape is from Jane. Meteora has the amulet, but you need to get her tiara back from the suckas. And I get a tip on the ring from a woman named Celine. But it's an van down by the river! As for the last 4, this is where the sucka hides come into play. There's only one place to tan them, and that's in town. So I did that and quickly put the rest of it together. With all of that acquired, it's time for Dreamland. Since I used the wiki, I went in their order. That would be the Game of Chance, which is less about chance than it is logic. Communicating in numbers, where you have to finish the sequence of numbers. Chop, chop, chop away. Chop a bunch of logs and turn them in. Where am I? Which was the most annoying part of this. The race is on, an agility obstacle course essentially. Anything you can do. Match the emotes, like the dungeoneering puzzle, and then I've got to fight myself, who is higher leveled than I am, but a pushover is still a pushover. Time to wake up and finish this quest. That does it for this episode. I apologize because I can tell as of writing and even reading this that I did not meet the deadline for it to go up on Saturday like I aimed for. Not to make excuses, but I've been feeling a bit under the weather lately. I mentioned it in my very first ever scripted video, I believe, but if you're curious, I have an issue in my right eye that flares up from time to time, and it decided this past week or so was the perfect time. So I've been moving a bit slow. But I still think I made heaps of progress if I'm being honest with myself. I didn't get as many quest points as I did in the first episode, but I did get a fair chunk of quests done, 12 of them actually. I also gained a lot of experience. I went from around 600 total level to almost 1200. I really wanted to try and catch up a bit as 3 of the others kinda zoomed past me in the first episode. I'm still a little bit behind, but that's okay. I'm doing better than I thought I would be able to, and that's enough for me. If you like this episode, you can go ahead and do that. If you felt the opposite way, you can do that as well. While you're down there, why not leave me a comment? I really enjoy commenting back to my viewers, and sometimes you all leave me comments about things that I never knew or had simply forgotten in my decade plus of playing the game. If you'd like to see more of what I'm getting up to on my group Ironman, or any other uploads I put here in the future, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. You can also follow me over on X, but until next time, happy games.
Bye, have a great time.